talk about some hardware things. And the first little piece I want to talk about is this. This is called a bail. And a bail is designed to put a hanging loop onto something that's flat, like that. So you glue this in place and you would turn this flat piece into something hangable. They come in different sizes and different shapes. These are heart bails, and that just refers to the fact that the part that gets glued on is shaped like a heart. So they come in different sizes and obviously in different metals. These are fairly large bails. At least they're the largest size that I generally use. And I'm using two, which is not usual. Usually you would just use one of these in the center to make a piece hangable. But I want to do something a little different. So all you really have to do is apply a little bit of glue. And I usually let this set up just a little bit before I put it on. So I want to put just a little bit on, not too much, because when I press this onto the heart, any excess glue is going to squeeze out the sides. I'm just going to put this right about there. I just want to make sure that they're sort of roughly positioned in the same place so that I end up with a heart that hangs straight. So I'll let that dry, and this is what it looks like when it's dry. So I have already added some ribbons to this. And that brings me to the second piece of hardware I want to talk about, which is this. These are, they're called ribbon clips or pinch clips, or they're known by a variety of names, but ribbon clips is what I know them by. These are different sizes. This is an assorted pack. And what happens with these is, once I get these all trimmed down, I'm going to put the ends into this clip, and I'm going to apply just a tiny bit of glue so that they stay in there, and then I'm going to mash it down, and that's going to be the thing that gets the clasp on it that allows me to turn this ribbony mess into something that can be put around your neck and closed. So here's one end that's just been crimped together, and here's one that's set up and ready to get crimped. So what I did was I straightened out the ribbons the way I wanted them and pinned them and then cut them to the length. And I sort of determined the length by holding the necklace up on me and sort of eyeballing how long I wanted it and then measuring. And so I measured these so that they would both be the same length. And now I'm just going to push some E6000 into this end. And slide it into the crimp. Really want to trim that off. Just a little thread. And I've got a paper towel over here so I can clean my fingers off whenever they get glue on them. And now I'm just going to smash that closed. Just smash the heck out of it. And then wipe away any excess glue. And I can take the pin out. And once that's dry, that's a pretty firm, that's pretty firmly attached, both glue and the crimp, so it's not going to go anywhere. So when I put the ribbons through the bails on this piece, I just tie them in a knot to sort of neaten them up close to the heart. I tried just threading them through and leaving them loose, and I didn't like the way it looked. So I decided to use some cord for this one, and I used blue on this side to mirror the blue of the background and green on this side. And I did a little test piece to try and do knots with the cord, and it was really bulky. So I decided to do this little thing, which is just a little pearl cotton wrapped around the cord and then threaded through to lock it down. And then I braided it. So I'm going to do that on the other side. And I just sort of slid these cords through the bail. And now sort of evening up the ends so that I can make sure that this pretty much gets centered. It's not going to be perfectly centered, but it'll be close. Then I'm going to take my pearl cotton and I'm going to hang on to a little bit of a tail. And then I'm going to just wrap around the cords. And I'm holding that tail so that I'm also wrapping around it, which will keep it from loosening. I sort of want to make sure that I'm the same distance away from the bail as I wrap. So I might want to do a couple loops closer to even this up. So now I'm going to leave a nice long tail on this. I'm going to thread it into this needle. It has a really large eye. I'm just going to thread it through. There we go. Make it nice and snug. I'm going to wrap around once and then go back down. There is no really perfect way of doing this. I just sort of make this up as I go along. And as I get this thread tucked in behind all of the wrapping that I've done, and I feel like it's going to stay wrapped and not unravel. Then I can trim away the excess. There we go. And now I can braid this. I'm sort of trying to braid this so that the strands are nice and flat and not rolled up. So you can see that these are all nice and flat. It just makes for a prettier braid that way. And then sort of measured 9.5 inches from the end of the bail to where I'm putting this pin. And I've done that on both sides, and that way I'm going to end up with a braided necklace that is equal in length. And once I get this all pinned into place, I can attach the end clamps, which I think it's going to be this one. It's just about the right width to put in there. So here's one side that's already got its clip on it. Now I'm going to do the other side. So I've already trimmed off the ends, pretty close to the pin, but not too close. I've left enough room for the clamp to slide in there. And now comes the messy part. I use glue with this to make sure that the cord doesn't come sliding out of the clamp. And it's a little messy. I'm just going across the front edge of this clamp, making sure that everything is tightened down as much as it can be. And also poking in the little pieces that want to peek out. And hopefully the glue will just hold those down. Once the glue dries, they won't peek back out. That feels pretty good. So now I just need to let it dry and then attach the clasp.